So I just read this article that said that basically the Rings of Power solved the problem that had existed. And it claimed that the problem that the Rings of Power solved was the issue around Sauron. That Sauron was given a real personality. We were able to learn about Sauron. So through the Halbrand character, we have a better appreciation of Sauron's motivation, and that somehow this fixed what Tolkien had missed, or somehow Tolkien missed this, or that's like the illusion, or that's the concept that was being brought to bear by this article. But to me, really, the idea that this evil character, that there was something missing and that they needed to be humanized, is not a missing. It's really not a missing. And then the added part, now there's a part to me that they really did get right, that as a Maya, he's a shapeshifter, so Sauron can look like anybody. So if he can look like anybody when he's being Halbrand, he's not really being himself, because he can be anybody. You get me? So you can't have both ways. Like if you realize that, that essentially like Halbrand is really just a character, a fiction that Sauron created, then you realize he wasn't being himself. So to say that he's being humanized by the Halbrand character, come on. And then really, to be quite honest, spoiler, I really wasn't tricked at all by the character. I pretty much knew from the introduction of the character that this was like the main twist. That was like my take on it. As soon as he showed up, I was like, here we go. As soon as he showed up, and then I pretty much like kept it to myself. And then later on, there were other things that came to bear. I think other things maybe that just come to mind about this article is that I get it that there's more interest in maybe bad characters because they're more complicated, it seems, or they're more interesting. But Sauron, or at least the way that he's expressed in Rings of Power, the main problem is that if they got closer to the lore, he would have been interesting in of himself. I don't know that I have a problem of necessarily or with Sauron becoming these different characters. In the next season, like Sauron's going to be Anatar, and I think Anatar might be played by a woman. But I think it's just, how is it done? Is it being done like in the spirit of really what's established? Does it make sense? These are my questions. So I'll sort of like leave it there. You want, you can go to www.sabkhaz.com, buy a t-shirt. You can also subscribe, support the channel, and there'll be some other stuff that I'll be posting maybe in the community section, which will be opportunities to support. So I'm not sure why everybody's sort of like missed this scene a little bit and were confused later about who this guy actually is. So really, this scene should have been the last scene where you had any confusion about who the Halbrand character was. Many people, I think they probably just saw the scene and they were like, he's a king and he's a good fighter. But if you look at it in the foreshadowing at the beginning and just go till the end, it's kind of clear that it's probably not a normal guy. And I'm not saying this to sort of fix anything, but I think this is actually a decent action scene. And I really don't mind what he does to these dudes in the alleyway. But pretty much with what he does to these dudes, it's pretty clear that Halbrand is not just some normal dude walking around fighting people. It's kind of clear. And then also it's like the maliciousness of his attacks on these clowns after, like with that and that and that. Yeah, you guys get the idea. It's pretty clear who's boss. You can go to www.sabkhaz.com. I got t-shirts there for you. They help support the channel and help support my continuing to make better and better content. Peace.